Coming in at number 39, we got the Goblin Giant, arguably the worst Evo in Clash Royale. 6 elixir, 2 spear goblins on his back, decent HP, but he has absolutely no place in today's meta. The nerf to the Goblin Giant has pretty much killed its usage rate and made it super underwhelming. According to Royale API, his usage rate has dropped below 1% on ladder. He's just too slow, too clunky, and way too easy to counter. Cards like the Tesla Evo, Cannon, and other meta decks completely shut him down instantly, pretty much killing the card right now. In a world of cheap cycle and splash control, the Goblin Giant feels outdated. He's not a win condition anymore, he's just a pure liability. Coming in at number 38, we got the Bomber. 3 elixir, decent splash damage, but no air targeting and super fragile. The Evo adds some splash burst damage, but it doesn't change the fact that he's replaceable by almost every other splash unit. Executioner, Ice Wizard, Baby Dragon, and even the Valkyrie. He shines in very specific decks like the Goblin Drill cycle, but as soon as spells like the Snowball or Arrows come out, he disappears. In my opinion, there are much better cards to have evolved in your deck over the Bomber Evo. Meta decks right now are focused on flexibility, and the Bomber only does one job, which does not make the cut. Coming in at number 37, we got the Wizard, a 5 elixir splash unit that used to dominate mid ladder, but right now he's just too slow and predictable. Stats show that the Wizard has one of the lowest win rates in the last season, sitting around 42% on ranked and ladder. He gets sniped by lightning, fireball, and just dies to about any high damage spell, which are meta right now. While he's fun in casual play, he's a liability against fast cycle and heavy beatdown decks. When the Evo first came out, he was solid, but now he's just an expensive liability, to be honest. Coming in at number 36, we got the Barbarians. 5 elixir for 5 rage. The Barbarian sounds great on paper, but in the current meta with a bunch of splash and control based decks, this card is gonna get cooked. Fireball, Valkyrie, Executioner, Evo, everything deletes them instantly. They can still stop a Mega Knight or a Royal Giant push, but they give way too much spell value right now and are only used in Lava Hound at this point. They're pretty decent on defense but offer zero offensive pressure, and that lack of versatility which is needed in the meta right now is the reason why he's ranked so low. So yeah, Barbarians are still tanky, still classic, but definitely not meta. Coming in at number 35, we got the Archers, a 3 elixir range support card which were elite in Expo and some motor decks, but after multiple indirect and direct nerfs and stronger support evos like the Dark Goblin and the Musketeer, the Archer's DPS just don't stand out anymore. Their damage has been greatly reduced and they're super fragile and lose traits to cheap spells. They'll always be reliable, but reliability does not equal impact. As far as the meta is concerned, they're barely used in any top decks. Coming in at number 34, we got the Big Mama P.E.K.K.A. 7 elixir of brute force, but 0 flexibility in the meta. Even with the 3800 HP and 816 damage per hit at tournament level, she's just too slow for the current meta, and the health that she gains from killing units is practically useless right now. Cycle decks run circles around her, and air units like the recently buffed Phoenix destroy her, and she's almost trading down for elixir right now. Her time as a defensive force is over, as most decks are much quicker and the meta shifts not in her favor, making the opportunity cost of using her bad decision. In a meta that rewards speed and synergy, the P.E.K.K.A. Evo just simply does not make the cut. Coming in at number 33, we got the Ice Spirit. 1 elixir, tiny freeze, but minimal impact. Don't get me wrong, it's still one of the best cycle tools in the game, but when you're ranking evos by power, the Ice Spirit just simply cannot compete. Its freeze duration got trimmed to 1.1 seconds, and that just makes it a nice support card, not a game changer. There are much better evos to be running in your deck right now, and top players use a regular card to fix card rotations, not the Evo Ice Spirit anymore. It's a good utility card, but the Evo is not worth it. Coming in at number 32, we got the Bats. It's fast, cheap, and flexible, but it's fragile. The current meta is absolutely packed with splash and spells. Snowball, Zap, and even the E-Spirit make short work of them. They still work in minor control and bait decks, but overall they're too easy to counter for ranked or ladder consistency. They're super great value when they survive, but they almost never do. Coming in at number 31, we got the Furnace. It was technically a building, but it plays like a spawner. After its rework earlier this year, the spawn rate and the fire spear damage were tweaked to make it more consistent, but the truth is, the furnace still struggles in this meta. Every cycle deck runs a spell that counters it for positive elixir or insane spell value with other troops close by, and to be honest, there are splash units that clean up the spirits easily as well. It can chip towers over time, but it's not that big of a threat like it used to be. It's a support card in the meta that rewards split lane pressure. Coming in at number 30, we got the E-Drag. It's 5 elixir, it flies, and stuns each hit for 0.5 seconds. Sounds amazing, right? Until you realize he's so slow and too fragile in today's meta. Since the 3 musketeers are getting a buff and a rework, the decks paired up with this will make sure to have answers to take out the E-Drag easily. His HP sits under 1000 at tournament level, and with the fireball rocket and the lightning so prevalent this season, he never survives long enough to build value, and he only fits in elixir golem and golem decks. He's good in beatdown decks, but in a fast meta centered around cheap pressure and quick resets, the E-Drag is just too slow to matter. Coming in at number 29 on the list is the Musketeer, a 4 elixir ranged troop that hits both air and ground units and is a staple in a lot of classic decks over the years. While the Evo version gives her a sniper shot mechanic, 3 ultra long range shots, she still suffers from being a very spell bait card, easily punished by the fireball or the lightning, and in the current fast meta right now, she just does not provide that much value to warrant her at a high ranking. Coming in at number 28, we got the Royal Recruits. 6 troops for 6 elixir, splitting evenly across the lanes. They bring about 190 damage per hit and 795 HP each. They're great at lane control, but painfully slow and extremely spell bait. This season's balance update didn't touch them, and the usage rate sits around 3% on Royal API. They will pair really well with the new Royal Hogs Evo, but again, they're super splash vulnerable. They might be a solid archetype, but it's gonna be interesting how the Royal Recruits bait players are gonna choose the 2 Evos which are needed for their decks. Coming in at number 27, we got the Knight, the classic 3 elixir mini tank that's dependable as ever, but nearly not as impactful this meta. The new meta heavily favors mobility and dual lane pressure, so defensive cards that don't really generate tempo are fallen behind. The Knight is still a fantastic value trade card, and it's perfect for stabilizing pushes, but he doesn't really swing games or force reactions like the higher ranking Evos do. He's solid, simple, but too passive for the meta right now. Before we move on to the next deck, make sure to like, hype the video, and join the Discord group, which is linked in the description of the video, where we talk about everything. Number 26, we got the Skeleton Barrel Evo. Once a sneaky win condition, now more of a niche pick. In this meta, there's a lot of decks that run many air counters and fast cycle cards, making the barrel struggle to connect. Its death spawn skeletons gets wiped instantly by splash cards like the Valk, Zap, and pretty much any other card. It's still fun in bait or minor decks for surprise chip, but it's not consistent enough to be ranked higher. Coming in at number 25, we got the Hunter, a hard-hitting burst unit that can wipe tanks up close. The problem, although its normal card is popular right now, its Evo's mainly only viable in Royal Giant decks, and maybe we can see it used in some new Royal Hogs Evo or 3 Musketeer decks, which might push them higher in the rankings. Another issue is that the Hunter needs precise placement and suffers when decks constantly pressure both lanes, which is going to be a theme with Royal Hogs and 3 Musketeer decks, which is going to be used a lot more often. Miss your Tyler timing and the Hunter whiffs and gets overwhelmed. He's still scary when you line him up, but we gotta see how the meta plays out. This could be a hit or a complete miss. Coming in at number 24, we got the Skeleton Army. It's still one of the best panic defenses in the game, but looking at the heavy splash and spell presence in the game right now, its value is gonna be super inconsistent. It's great for bait decks and lower ladder chaos, but at higher levels, it rarely survives long enough to shine. It's quite strong for surprise defense, but it's not really reliable in the meta right now. Coming in at number 23, we got the Firecracker. Annoying, chip heavy, and sometimes super clutch when placed perfectly. She's fantastic value for Hog cycle players, but the problem is she only works well in Hog, making her super niche. The other disadvantage is that she gives free King Tower activation every single time and has that bozo gene when she gets 0 value at times. Nevertheless, she's gonna be a solid card for this season if the players don't run a lot of small spells which can take her out. She's that sneaky mid-tier card everyone forgets until it's too late. Coming in at number 22, we got the Skeletons, the 1 elixir card that makes every cycle deck run smoother. They're incredible for rotation and defense, but in an Evo ranking based on meta impact, the Skeletons just don't carry enough weight, as there are going to be a lot of spells that counter it and other Evos which give you a lot more value than the Evo Larrys. Don't get me wrong, they're amazing on defense, but the meta is just not that great to warrant it to be higher. Coming in at number 21, we got the Inferno Dragon, a high risk, high reward card. If the beam locks, it melts absolutely anything. But there's a catch. With the zap, lightning, E-giant, and reset mechanics everywhere, it almost never gets to ramp up. In a slower meta, he's terrifying, but this season it's all about quick resets and fast counters. Also, he's only used in lava and loon freeze decks, making him super niche. He's super powerful, but unreliable right now. Coming in at number 20, we got the Goblin Drill, a card that's actually getting some love this season. This balance update gives it a buff to its first submerge, now spawning 2 goblins instead of 1, which means more immediate tower pressure and faster chip potential. That might finally push it closer to the mid-meta spotlight, but the problem still persists. It's still countered by a bunch of splash units like the Log, Valkyrie, and other splash units which are meta right now. Hopefully the buff can make the Evo Drill more viable and potentially much stronger in the coming weeks, but I don't know because it kinda looks bleak. Coming in at number 19, we got the Dark Goblin, a 3 elixir card that fires ultra fast darts at a long range. He's built for chip damage and bait support, but this season's meta revolves around tighter rotations and faster elixir cycles. The Dark Goblin needs to stay long enough to justify his value, especially with so many decks running knockback or small area control spells. His usage rate has fallen below 2% this season. In short, he's a strong pressure tool, but kind of too fragile and inconsistent unless you're running hyper bait. Coming in at number 18, we got the Mega Knight. The Mega Knight's a 7 elixir legendary card with 3300 HP and does splash damage on spawn and while attacking. Looking at the new meta, tempo and efficiency dominate. 7 elixir commitments are punished by quick rotations and defensive evos like the Cannon Evo and the Tesla, with the cards like the Valkyrie and Knight in play. The Mega Knight remains ladder favored for punishing overextensions, but in high level play, he still gets countered very easily. Coming in at number 17, we got the Lumberjack. It's a 4 elixir legendary card with 1060 HP and a fast melee DPS, dropping the rage spell on death while the Gold Lumberjack just keeps swinging to get even more value. His synergy with the Balloon and Golem decks are still relevant, but in this meta, it's packed with a bunch of stun and reset tools like the Evo Zap, Lightning, and the E-Giant that greatly limits his burst value. He remains a strong support piece which can be used in your deck if it fits him well. Coming in at number 16, we got the Tesla. The Tesla is a 4 elixir building that hides underground and targets both air and ground units. It's one of the most consistent defenses this season, countering the Royal Hog's Evo, Battle Ram, and the Hog. However, this meta rewards decks that transition defense into counter pushes, and the Tesla offers very little offensive payoff, obviously. This is a solid card to have in your deck unless your opponent has a Lightning. Then you're actually screwed. Coming in at number 15, we got the Witch. The Witch costs 5 elixir and spawns skeletons while dealing splash damage, and every time her skeletons die, she gains health. Her nerf had her take the backseat, but now the meta has made her viable again behind tanks. This can rapidly change as quick cycle and dual lane decks often denies her setup time. She's effective in slower decks with the Giant or Mega Knight, but not flexible enough for the wider meta as there are much stronger Evos which do splash damage to take her out easily. Coming in at number 14, we got the Goblin Barrel. It remains a timeless win condition, but it faces heavy counter density this season. The Log, Snowball Evo, and the Bar Barrel are nearly in 60% of top decks according to Royal API. The Goblin Barrel Evo now rewards perfect spell bait sequencing rather than just raw pressure. You need to play Log bait perfect and keep track of spells to actually win due to the heavy spell meta right now. Coming in at number 13, we got the brand new Evo, the Royal Hogs. Unlike their base form, they now launch into the air when deployed, flying over ground defenders before crashing down. The flying phase has completely changed how players defend. Ground cards like the Valkyrie or the Cannon Evo can't stop them mid-air. You must use an air targeting troop or burn a small spell to ground them. In this season, this unique mechanic is shaking up both the ladder and tournament play. Their hybrid ground air path makes them one of the most unpredictable split lane win conditions right now, and they pair perfectly with 3 Musketeers control or the Archer Queen deck for quick pressure. Usage rate from the Royal API website shows a quick rise to 55% win rate, confirming they're already meta defining. They punish passive players, overload air counters, and force completely new defenses. Coming in at number 12, we got the Executioner. The Executioner costs 5 elixir and throws an axe that boomerangs through air and ground targets. The Evo form has sharpened his consistency, making his hits push back units, giving him more time to DPS the attacking troops. He's now a broken splash defender and a control piece, particularly when paired with a Tornado. He's absolutely not cheap, but always valuable in the decks he's used in. Coming in at number 11, we got the Baby Dragon. The Baby Dragon's a 4 elixir flying troop with splash damage and adds a gust effect, which which moves your troops faster and slows your opponent's offense for a much smoother defense and a stronger counterattack. He's absolutely thriving again thanks to this season's dual lane and swarm heavy meta. He's used in Graveyard, E-Giant, and other control decks, and he's one of the safest splash supports in the game. He won't win games alone, but he never underperforms as it's the card he helps which brings value. Coming in at number 10, we got the Balram. The Balram costs 4 elixir, charges towards buildings, and spawns Rage Barbarians on impact. In this season's fast-paced bridge pressure environment, the Balram fits perfectly. It thrives in P.E.K.K.A bridge spam and other bridge spam decks, forcing quick responses and punishing slow cycles. It rarely gets outclassed in lane control decks as it takes out any swarm units on its way to the tower. It's sitting around 52% win rate, only behind the Goblin Cage and the Royal Ghost Evo. This is a card that's a hit or a miss. Either you get insane value with it in a matchup or you don't. Coming in at number 9, we got the Snowball. The Snowball's a 2 elixir common spell that deals light area damage and pushes back troops on impact. In its Evo form, the Snowball now adds a higher knockback and a longer slow duration, giving it huge tempo control. This meta is filled with a lot of light units, swarms, and chip decks, making the Evo Snowball one of the most cost-effective answers. It outclasses the Log in many matchups thanks to its air reach and slow effect. We have to see how it plays out with the Minor Loon and Drill based decks, which usually dominates with it. Coming in at number 8, we got the Zap. The Zap is a 2 elixir common spell that deals instant area damage and stuns for 0.5 seconds. The Evo Zap has quickly become the #1 spell people are using according to Royale API, only behind the Barbell based on the usage rate, but its win rate are pretty much identical, sitting at 52%. The Evo Zap will slowly make its way into the meta more and more once the decks start shaping out. Coming in at number 7, we got the Goblin Cage. The Goblin Cage is a 4 elixir rare building that releases a brawler after destruction. The Evo version pulls any troop within 3 tiles of the building into the cage, and it's directly attacked by the Goblin Brawler in it. It hard counters cards like the Royal Giant, Battle Ram, and the Mega Knight while converting defenses into a counter pressure. In this meta, its efficiency keeps it a top tier defensive card, which not only acts as a solid defensive card, but also provides a lot of offensive potential. The Evo Cage sits on top of the list in Royale API with a stunning win rate of 55%, which is incredible. Coming in at number 6, we got the Mortar. The Mortar Evo shoots a Goblin alongside the Boulder, which makes it so much harder to defend, and its DPS increases by 18% because of this, giving it incredible split lane pressure potential if you need it. It defines control and cycle decks by applying constant chip while defending efficiently. This meta favors cards that maintain tempo and dual lane pressure, and the Mortar does exactly that. I think the Evo Mortar is a great investment for the free-to-play players long term. Coming in at number 5, we got the Royal Ghost. I don't think I gotta talk too much about this card. Even after the nerf, you see the Royal Ghost thrive in a bunch of cycle and control decks, which means that he's here to stay. He's already being abused in a bunch of Royal Hogs and 3 Musketeer decks, which means that he's still very strong and is a valuable Evo to get. Coming in at number 4, we got the Cannon. The Cannon is a 3 elixir common building that targets ground units with rapid and high precision fire. Its Evo transforms it into a formidable force that fires a burst of cannonballs with splash and knockback, dramatically increasing its short-term DPS. This season, that change matters more than ever. The November 2025 balance update reworked the 3 Musketeers and introduced the Royal Hogs Evo, 2 archetypes that overwhelm lanes with split pressure. The good news is the Cannon Evo stops both. The multi-shot splash shreds the Musketeers before they even lock on and knocks back the charging Hogs Evo the moment they land. For 3 elixir, it trades positively against decks that normally force lightning or fireball. For this meta's dual lane tempo driven pressure, no other defensive card gets this much efficiency per elixir than the Cannon Evo. Coming in at number 3, we got the Wall Breakers. The Wall Breakers pretty much sprint to buildings and explode on impact. Their Evo gives them an additional mini blast radius after detonation, making them one of the best punish tools in the game. There are a lot of bait decks that prioritize quick rotations and dual lane pressure, and the Evo Wall Breakers thrive here, pairing with the Goblin Barrel Evo or the Royal Ghost for unstoppable pressure. Coming in at number 2, we got the Royal Giant. The Royal Giant is a 6 elixir win condition that targets buildings from range. His pushback mechanic when shooting makes Swarm useless to defend with and gives a hard time for the melee troops to attack him. He dominates control matchups and defines the mid to high ladder meta. With the perfect synergy alongside the Fisherman and the Lightning, he punishes any mistime defense, making him one of the best Evos in the game. Finally, coming in at number 1, we got the Valkyrie. The Valkyrie is a 4 elixir rare melee troop with a 360 spin attack. Her Evo pretty much adds a tornado where she pulls everything together, and her spin takes out any pesky cards they throw at you. She's the best counter to Swarm, Brit Spam, and split lane pushes hands down. She's used in almost every top tier deck to counter the meta right now, and she remains the undisputed GOAT Evo based on the current meta. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you want to know the top 10 classic decks you need to master to boost your skill in Clash Royale, click on this video. Bye.